Hello, my name is Erica Sawyer, and I am an aspiring early childhood educator. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about technology, specifically the one-to-one ratio of technology to students in a classroom. First, I want to talk about what that is specifically. A one-to-one ratio means that each student has a piece of technology, like an iPad or a Chromebook, that they are using in the classroom. And not to say that it's theirs officially, but usually it's something that they can take home to do assignments on. They have access to it at school during the day. And so there is no student who is without. It's available to every student at the discretion of the teacher. So the teacher is in charge of how these technological pieces are being used. However, there still is one available for every student. Now, so that is what it is. That's what the one-to-one ratio means. Some of the issues that it presents, CNN did a study where they found that 50% of teens consider themselves addicted to technology. And the fact that it's the teens who are surveyed and saying this indicates that it's a trend that is affecting the younger population of students. There are some developmental concerns with the overuse of technology as well. Severe impairments, mild to severe impairments in cognitive functioning, attending, social emotional regulation skills, and social issues. So being able to connect to peers and being able to maintain friendships and seek out friendships can be associated with having too much technology or having too much technology and being exposed to negative images in video games or online in general during that use of technology. So those are some of the concerns, the general concerns with the overuse of technology. But some of the benefits also from a one-to-one ratio like this is that every child does have access to a piece of technology that is considered theirs in the classroom. And that provides students who might have lower socioeconomic status and don't have access to technology for its educational purposes, that gives them an opportunity to use those resources at their disposal. It also provides an enrichment tool for the classroom so that the teacher isn't necessarily writing all of the information on the board or presenting things in a large group setting, but they're able to show smaller information, say like a museum tour, field trip, virtual field trip on an iPad, and so each student is able to look and go through that virtual field trip as a part of their instruction, and they don't have to necessarily wait for the teacher and for the rest of their class to be ready to move on. So that's definitely a benefit. In my experience, in teaching and in witnessing different styles of teaching, I've seen that this one-to-one technology ratio is extremely beneficial as long as the students who are given the technology to use are being well supervised. There are moments that I've observed in a second grade classroom where a student was in the iPad section of the literacy centers and was given a specific game to complete. However, he spent probably 5 to 10 minutes, if not more, on YouTube. So looking at music videos that were not age appropriate, and very concerning, that he was looking at those images and seeing those things on the iPad. And the problem was that there were only 2 teachers and 27 children in the room, all of them not all of them having iPads at the same time, granted, but all of them having access to do these things in this activity while the teacher was busy with another activity. So, and that's very concerning. It's concerning that our students aren't learning the necessary protocols for the one-to-one ratios, for having technology at their disposal. And it's also concerning that teachers don't have the means and don't have the people in the classroom to actually respond to issues like the one I described with the second grader looking up looking up music videos that could be considered semi-pornographic. So that's one of my concerns with one-to-one technology. However, it's so beneficial, and it's so helpful to the teacher when it's used safely and when the students are educated in how to use that technology. So that's an overview of the issue and also the benefits of that one-to-one ratio. I think my recommendation for the use of technology in classrooms, and I'm specifically right now thinking iPads and other personal technological devices, my recommendation would be that it's well used, so that it's set up in a way where students know the expectations, and in whatever way the teacher has those students using the technology, they need to be monitored, and they need to have accountability, so that the teacher isn't looking through the search history later and being really concerned at what they're finding and not knowing which student it was. So that's another thing with the one-to-one ratio. If that model is being used, then it's necessary, I think, for each child to have a designated iPad so that the teacher can go back and double check to ensure that the child is searching on safe platforms, to ensure that the child is not being exposed to pornographic or inappropriate images, which is unfortunately extremely common and extremely easy to access, and that there's always a name associated with the iPad or the Chromebook or whatnot, so that teachers are able to track that in that way. I think personally, I would also, in my classroom, I would use it fairly sparingly. Not so sparingly that it becomes a thing of obsession for students, because one thing that I see fairly often is that students will just be so excited about technology, but will be doing everything in order to be able to use that iPad, or like, oh, if I finish this really fast, like I'll be able to go on and play my game or whatnot. And I don't think that is a good motivator, and I don't think that it's a good a good behavior management tool. So in my classroom, I would like to limit the use of technology in terms of personal screen time, and also make sure that each student knows that they are accountable for the choices that they make to a device that is connected to the internet, and that they will lose that privilege if it's used incorrectly. So setting boundaries with the technology, limiting use, also in response to how well your students can handle that amount of screen time, or if you notice that they are becoming more addicted and have to get their fix of the day kind of thing. And then also just that the students know that it is that they are using a resource, and that is a very valuable resource, but it is also a privilege to use those things, and so it's a privilege to use the technology, and it's exciting and wonderful, but they need to really learn how to value that technology, especially if it is a one-to-one ratio where they each have a piece of technology that is considered theirs in the classroom.